Happy Easter. This is wonderful. I don't remember the last time I saw this place this full. This is amazing. What a great holiday. This is our high feast day of the entire church calendar. This is supposed to be higher than Christmas. How wonderful it is to see all of you. Wow. Well, we have just a quick task among us right now. I would like to talk about three things. First, farming. 2, hell, don't worry. And then 3, how Jesus connects them for me. Now, when I talk with young people and even older people about Christian spirituality, this passage is wonderful. Jesus breathes on the disciples. To me, it sounds as though he's doing CPR on them. He's breathing some new life into their soul, and I hope that what I'm about to share does the same thing for you. Because let's be honest, every so often we all need a little bit of CPR on our soul, right? Get the heart pumping again and get some new breath in there. Well, I grew up at the beach, down at Long Beach Island, up on the northern end of the island. If you've ever been to the lighthouse, I could see the lighthouse from my porch growing up, pretty much. When you grow up at the beach, everyone comes to vacation where you live. So we would leave and go to the farmlands for our vacation. I'm not kidding. We would actually drive 16 hours or so out to Indiana, and we would stay at a farm. That was my summer vacation. I would go out, and then there would be cows, and there would be horses, and I'd wake up to chickens. There were like multiple dogs just running around all the time. Cats, they weren't even named. They were just roaming in herds. Oh my goodness. You don't see that at the beach. But I got a chance to see some of the farming equipment up close. And the couple that we would stay with, they were almost like grandparents to my brother and I. And Phil, who is like a grandpa, he actually owned the most tractors in the state of Indiana. He had a whole barn full of more than 100 tractors. All of them were the red Farmall tractors. You maybe know the John Deere ones. These were Farmall. And so I used to be so fascinated watching farming happen, because behind these gigantic tractors with wheels taller than I was at that age, they would drag and till the land and get ready for the new harvest. It was so fascinating. It was amazing to watch. So let's pause. That's the end of the first part. Second part, hell is something that we don't know what to do with in some sense, because the Bible itself uses multiple words to describe hell. You might even recognize some of them. Hades is referenced a few times. Hades is the Greek word for the underworld, or the god, the Greek mythology. Hades was in charge of the dead. Gehenna, Jesus talks about Gehenna, the trash pile outside of Jerusalem, where the waste and the rubbish would be burned. You maybe have heard that one. There's Tartarus. It's only used once in the New Testament. It's almost as though that's the place where disobedient angels will be held. So there's a whole lot of things going on, but also there's Sheol. You maybe have heard the word Sheol, especially if you read the Old Testament. There might be a little footnote. You might read in the text, it might say pit, might say abyss, and it has a footnote that says the bottom, it's the word Sheol. It was just like the waiting place of the dead. Now, what does this have to do with Jesus? Well, the early church, this guy named Irenaeus, another guy named Tertullian, and then other people, you might know them, Martin Luther, John Calvin. All of these figures talk about something known as the harrowing of hell. And a harrow, get this, was the rake that would help to level the ground out behind a tractor. And so we come to celebrate Easter because this is the day where we remember Jesus has done what is necessary to level out, to plow over, to disturb, to uproot, to weed out hell. Hell has been overcome, and I love the fact that the early church used farming language to talk about it. You and I come together and celebrate this day, supposedly more than Christmas, because this is the day when we remember that Jesus has harrowed hell and sin and death for us. So now there is nothing left to do but to grow in lives of love and gratitude for what Christ has already done. And how fantastic is this? In the resurrection passage in John's gospel, Jesus is raised and Mary's there and she doesn't know what's going on. She's disturbed. She hasn't seen Jesus. She's like, my goodness, they stole his body. And he shows up and she doesn't recognize him. And she says, gardener, I'm looking for my rabbi. And he has to remind her, Mary, it's me. And she was right. He is the divine gardener who has leveled out the ground and has flattened hell and sin and death for us. This echoes back to Genesis 1, where God himself is the gardener of everything. So this Easter, may you have CPR done on your soul. May you feel as though God has breathed life into your heart and soul this day as you remember that Christ has already harrowed hell and sin and death out of freedom and love for you. Happy Easter.